One of the most important requirements of URAC accreditation is that the members of your staff, at the very least, and in some cases members of your board and all of your committees, even if they're not staff members, need to be trained. Training is central to URAC accreditation. It is a requirement of URAC accreditation in an explicit sense in the Core 7 standards. And Core 7, as you can see as you read it, has a number of substantive requirements. You have to have your staff trained in the applicable URAC standards that apply to them, regulatory requirements that affect how they do their jobs, a whole host of other things that are explicitly listed there. Also, if you look at Core 24, your staff members have to be trained along with your board members and committee members in confidentiality requirements, particularly those around the federal law surrounding confidentiality and privacy, known as HIPAA. I'm sure I don't need to tell you much about that. All of you have been trained on that, and that training is required both by Core 7 and Core 24. So how do organizations typically train their employees? Well, if you look at these standards, a number of them are company-wide. They apply to every member of the operational part of your company that deals with the URAC standards under accreditation, whether they are utilization management nurses, for example, or IT professionals. Everybody has to be trained in confidentiality. Everybody has to be trained in fraud and abuse and regulatory requirements. But not everybody has to be trained in everything. So, for example, if you're a health plan and you've got a variety of people working in your organization, you've got network management or provider relations people over here, and you've got utilization management people over here, you have the human resources people over there. The URAC standards that they need to be trained in and the regulatory requirements that they need to be trained in are only those that apply to their particular jobs. So you don't necessarily need to train the IT people in the utilization management requirements in a health plan accreditation. Similarly, if you've got any of the medical management accreditations, you don't have to train the back office people, human resources, IT, etc., in the front office work of medical management, case management, disease management, or utilization management. So those are department level or even sub-department level training requirements. So you've got to think about, for each of these training elements, is this for everybody or is it only for a few people, and if so, who are those people? Now, what are the mechanisms for training people that I've seen over the hundreds of organizations I've been in over the last 10 years in the world of health plan and health network, medical management, and other kinds of accreditation? Well, the most basic, remember, we've been in firms as small as 1 employee and as large as the largest health insurance company in the world. So we've seen all sorts of different training programs. The most basic is face-to-face, company-wide. You get everybody in a room, or everybody in a room, if the room's not big enough for everybody, in sequence, and lead them through a standardized training program. Have everybody sign in, make sure all your training is recorded for each employee, and deliver the training that way. Organization-wide training can also happen through either homegrown training programs or off-the-shelf training programs that people go on into their computer or onto a web-based application and go through a standardized set of trainings that are company-wide. Similarly, at the department level, training can happen in ordinary staff meetings. So you might see a staff meeting of the IT professionals go over Core 13 and Core 24, which are the primary information technology relevant core standards, and none of the others. Have everybody in the department sign into that staff meeting, have an agenda of what was trained in that staff meeting, and then keep a record either in the individual personnel files of what of the people who attended, or in some central training tracking log or file. Department level training can also be much more sophisticated, and you could design or purchase a web-based or server-based application that allows you to break up the universe of training requirements into segments. So you might sign all of your UM nurses for a particular set of trainings at the department level that would focus on the 36 standards in the utilization management module, plus other policies and procedures that they need to be trained in, or regulatory requirements that are specific to utilization management. And then again, make sure that that training record is kept at the department level. This is sometimes easier for large organizations if it's done online. There's also an advantage to online training, and by online I don't mean a WebEx kind of training where you've got everybody logged on at the same time, although that's certainly one way to do it. I mean the kind of training where a person at his or her own schedule logs on, goes through the training course, may or may not take a test, but in any event the software knows that the person has gone through the entire module, done all the required clicks, and spent the required time on the program, and has completed it, and the program then certifies the completion of that course. We've seen all sorts of variations on these few modules, and sometimes within the same company, who might have one face-to-face training for the company-wide stuff and then have individual department-level face-to-face trainings, or mix in technology at the company level but still have staff meetings serve the training function at the department level, or to be completely automated. We've seen all sorts of combinations, and we'll be glad to talk to you about what makes sense for your company.